Today's workout is a 10-minute C-section abs and core workout. This workout is designed to help you reconnect to your core and engage your abs post C-section. It's gentle and beginner friendly. All you need is a mat. Let's get started. Hey mamas, welcome to today's workout. We've got a 10-minute C-section core workout. We're going to focus on recovery, promote healing, and connecting to your core. So this one's all about establishing those connections in the deep core. We're going to begin today's workout with some mobility, including scar massage and some breathing to help connect to the core. So what I want you to do is just go ahead and remove any clothing that's touching your C-section scar. And we're going to start massaging in just little circles on and around the scar. Now, if your scar is a little more sensitive, if you haven't done this before, you might just start with little circles around and not directly on the scar. Of course, I want to caveat this by saying you should be past 6 weeks. Your scar should be fully healed and not painful if you're going to begin massage work. But what we want to do is promote healing by breaking up that scar tissue that forms around your incision site. So, and that scar tissue can restrict mobility, restrict our range of motion when we're doing core exercises, and can inhibit our ability to connect with that deep core. So we're just doing little circles, just gentle pressure. I'm using all 4 of my fingers, but you may start with 1 finger. You can start with 2. Again, it is all controlled by you and your comfort level today. But if you've been doing this for a while, maybe you could go a little deeper, push a little more firmly. And I'm going all the way around the scar. So underneath, above, even on the diagonal right here. For me, I've got a little extra scar tissue build up there. So I always go right there. And this is something you can do, again, if you're newly postpartum, as long as you're healed. And then if you're a few years postpartum, this is still beneficial to break up those adhesions. I'm about 2 years postpartum myself, but I still do this to help release that tight muscle fascia, because if you've got scar tissue, it'll always be there to some extent. And so we can always improve upon it. Now, you may also start to drag your fingers just gently along, either going vertically, horizontally, diagonally, just in a gentle motion, just loosening up that muscle fascia here. And you can use even like a cotton pad or something else if you don't want to use your hands, or you can even add like a massage oil or a lotion to make it more comfortable. But I'm just doing some gentle pulling. And then one last thing you might do is lift and fold that scar over. If you've got a little bit of overhang, of course you can grab onto that skin. Everybody's got a little bit of loose skin. We're just grabbing and pulling. Now what we're going to transition to is our breath work. So we're going to do some deep diaphragmatic breathing. So what I want you to do is inflate your belly like a balloon and breathe up into your rib cage. Do you see the rib cage expansion here? So full 360 rib cage expansion. Exhale, drawing the belly button in and up, closing the ribs down. So we don't see this rib flare when we're closing. We want those ribs to come down. Core is engaged, pelvic floor is engaged. Let's do that again. So deep breath. So I don't just want you to breathe out into your belly and pooch it out. I want you to breathe up into the diaphragm, into the rib cage. Exhale. Think about getting all that air out of the balloon. That's your stomach. And then closing the ribs down and keeping that core engaged, pelvic floor. It shouldn't be really like a pushing out when you're breathing out or in. It should just be a connecting, really gentle. If you notice you're kind of pushing out or that lower belly starting to pooch, just breathe a little more, a little less forcefully. And depending on where you're at postpartum, you may still have a little bit of doming or coning. That's common with just recently postpartum. You're still establishing that connection, but this is beneficial again, no matter where you're at. We're just going to keep going. So good to do for a few minutes. And we're taking deeper breaths. You can also practice with more shallow breaths, and I have more videos on how to do that on my channel as well. Just a few minutes every day is so important. You can do those 2 things daily, and I would suggest it. We're going to move on to our back now for some exercises to help connect to that core. Deep breath in. Exhale, engage core and pelvic floor. We're going to lift the front knee. Press both hands in toward that knee. The knee should be about 90 degrees over the hip, shin parallel to the ceiling. And then this opposite foot is on the ground. So we're just lifting the front knee using those hands to press. So this might feel easy, but if you're newly postpartum, your core probably feels like jello. And so these movements are going to help you connect to it, help establish those neurological connections, because a lot of it is not just the muscle that is weak, it's that the mind-body connection was lost when you were cut open. And so we're reestablishing those neurological pathways from the brain to fire to the muscle to connect to your core. We're going to do that same thing, this time other side. So I want you to focus on pushing into your knee and then sending that feedback from the leg into your hands. So it's an active push from the leg, from the hands, and the deep core is engaged. So you notice I took that deep breath, engaged my core and pelvic floor, and I'm holding my lower back toward the floor. So this is really going to help you find that stability and reconnect to those deep core muscles. Now we're going to move on to a glute bridge hold. So we're going to take the feet close to your butt. Your feet are about parallel, hip width apart, and then we're going to drive the hips up to the ceiling and hold it here. Just focus now on driving the heels into the ground, tucking the hips under so you're squeezing your glutes, but you're not here. We don't want to see a big arch in the back. We want a nice neutral spine, and that way we keep that glute work engaged, the hamstrings engaged without overdoing it for the hip flexors. So just stay at the top here, push down through the heels. If it's too intense, you can always take a break, but we're focusing on that stability component, which is why we're holding this, just to fire those muscles. We'll rest. We're going to come back up into the glute bridge. And this time I want you to pretend you've got a little Pilates ball between your knees, something squishy, and you're going to push the knees together as you bridge. So we're going to come up and push in and out. Exhale as you push in and then release. If you do have a Pilates ball, it would be great to place that between the knees and get that feedback from the ball into the inner thighs. But if you don't have one, just pretend you're pushing those knees together, getting that adductors working here. Core and pelvic floor are firing in unison. And if you need to, you can drop down in between any of those reps. Now we're going to continue on. This time we're going to move to hands and knees and do a modified bird dog. So let's find hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Deep breath in. Exhale, engage core and pelvic floor. Take the right arm to the front, left leg to the back, and hold it. So we're just extending the arm and leg on the floor. You can keep the full hand on the floor. You can do fingertips. If you feel good, you can lift the hand or you can lift the leg, but we're breaking it down, focusing on stability. So you've got that alignment, shoulder over wrist, you've got the knee under your hip, and you've got that strong core brace. You might even feel shaky here, and that is okay. You can put the hand back down. Having less points of contact, taking an arm and leg away is going to make it harder. So we're going to do that same thing other side. Breathe. And I can already tell for me, this side's a little easier. So you're going to find kind of your weak spots here too when we're doing exercises like this, because they're unilateral. So you're isolating the sides of the body. And so that's going to help you find your weak spots and really improve upon those. Pressing actively into the hand here, pressing through this hand, pressing through the foot. So we've got all 4 points of contact really, but we've taken the leg and arm away from the body, which is going to increase that intensity, increase that lever length. Okay, we're going to come back onto our low back and work on rib closures. So we're focusing on keeping the ribs down, right, in our exercise and our breath work. So we're going to do it here. And this is great because we don't need equipment. So we're going to take the arms straight up to the sky. I want you to inhale, take the arms overhead, keeping that lower back pressed toward the floor and ribs closed down. So arms go overhead, inhale. You're going to see a little bit of expansion here, but what I want you to do on the exhale, focus on closing those ribs, keeping them down, down, down as you bring the arms back to 90 degrees or neutral. Lower back toward the floor. Try not to flare at the ribs when you extend back, and then using that breath to engage the core and pelvic floor. Let's do one more. Some of these, the time interval is a little bit short, so feel free to do more than what was allotted here today. Okay, we're gonna come onto a side plank lift. So bring your elbow under your shoulder 90 degrees, knees forward, heels back. What we're gonna do is just use this hand to gently push, and as we push the hips off the floor, we're engaging that core and pelvic floor, and then we lower back down. So exhale, draw that navel in and up. Ribs are closed, obliques are engaged, and then we lower down. Now, if that's too much for you, just focus on holding your side plank here. Getting that elbow under shoulder, but you can, if you want to, use this hand or place it on the hip and give those hips, glutes more of a challenge. We're gonna come to the other side here. Again, these are pretty short intervals today, and I did that because if you're a beginner, you might not want to do something for 50 seconds quite yet. You might not be there yet, but these are some things that you can continue to improve upon and increase your time interval. So here we want to focus on keeping those knees forward, heels together, and lifting from the underside of your waist. So it's not pushing into your shoulder. You should be doing the work from your core and pelvic floor here. And that includes the glutes, which is why the glutes are such a big component of today's workout as well. And that's it. 10 minutes. I hope you feel good and reconnected to your core. And this is one that I would recommend if you're newly postpartum, newly post C-section. As long as you're cleared for gentle movement by your provider, this is something you can start doing even in the first few weeks to months and see some great benefits in healing and connecting to your core. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I always appreciate your feedback, and thank you as always for being here. I'll see you next time.